Welcome back, Frostburg State fans, to another new head coach interview. And we're here with our new leader of our men's and women's swimming programs, Matt Brinton. Matt, welcome to Frostburg.
Logan, thanks so much for having me.
First off, you came here from King University and were the head coach there. What drove the decision for you to come to Frostburg to be our newest head coach here, where it's obviously some very successful swimming teams over the past couple of years, but, why here and why now?
Yeah, well, it was really an easy decision to come up here. I had a couple conversations with some of the athletic directors here, specifically Carrie and Troy, and it was pretty obvious how invested they were in this transition into Division II athletics and what they were doing for the student athletes here. So it was definitely something that I wanted to be a part of after talking with them. And then after actually getting up here and seeing the campus, seeing the beautiful surroundings and everything, the mountains here, and actually getting to meet with President Nowacek and even some of the faculty advisors, everybody just seemed on the same page. Everybody was really pushing towards finding excellence around here, especially with all the changes that were happening. So it was really an easy decision to join this athletic department.
It is certainly something that we're proud of, where it does seem like our entire university is connected in a way where, the faculty and staff kind of interact with athletics, and we have a really good relationship with Troy Dell. You mentioned our athletic director and President Nowacek as well. For the people that may not know, you swam at Towson in your undergrad and were very successful there. Coming back to Maryland, you obviously have some knowledge of the region. Obviously, you're a little bit further west than most people would recognize, but what's it been like to come back to Maryland and have sort of that knowledge of where you'd want to go and recruit some swimmers?
Yeah, well, that was a huge driving factor. Like you said, I was swimming for Towson, so I spent 4 years from 2013 to 2017 in the Towson area. And that during that time I was working with a YMCA team there, so I was already in the coaching realm, and then when I graduated, I decided coaching was my career. So I moved down into Baltimore City, and started coaching for another club team actually in Baltimore County, but it was a pretty high level club team, and so I spent almost 4 years there. And I was really fortunate that I got to work with, everything from, the little 8 and unders all the way up to some really high caliber, national caliber high school athletes. And with that, I got to meet all the other swimmers in the area, all the coaches that were in Maryland. And so, building some of those relationships back a couple years ago is really going to pay off now, I think, as I move back into the area. So, I know a lot of the coaches in the Maryland LSC, and swimming LSC is the local swimming community. But to go along with that, actually one of my mentors is up in Pittsburgh. And so for those of you who don't know, Pennsylvania is also a really big swim state. And so we're right on the border there. Pittsburgh is kind of a hotbed along with the eastern side, which is actually where I grew up. And so, working with with Dave up there in Pittsburgh, him reintroducing me to a lot of those coaches, has really helped with getting started in the recruiting process. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to use those relationships I've built to help build this team up even more.
It certainly is. When you look at swimming, it's such a large area of people and people but when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's a pretty small world, all things considered, where you meet people here and there and they come back later in your journey. Speaking of the team here at Frostburg, obviously you haven't gotten a chance to see them swim in person quite yet, and getting everyone on campus for practice schedules. That'll happen in about a month here, give or take, and it's been a pretty quick summer for us. But what's been sort of the mood around the team of your virtual meetings and trying to talk with them and some of the leaders from both programs?
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, like you said, I haven't met the team in person yet, but a lot of the team is actually from, the Maryland area, Maryland, Pennsylvania. And so without realizing it, a lot of the swimmers and I have shared the deck at one point during our careers. We just weren't working on the same team. So it'll be really cool to actually meet them in person. But in terms of what we've been doing so far, like I said, it has been a lot of virtual stuff. And I'm really fortunate in the fact that the team is really motivated to build on the success they had last year. Obviously, with the women's team winning the conference last year, they're ready to do it again. And the guys' team placing third was really great, but it's been pretty clear that that is not good enough for them. They want more. They want to share that glory like the women's team had. So, a lot of it has been full team meetings, during the interview process. But now that I've been on campus, a lot of it has been meeting with some of the senior leadership, and then having some individual meetings with some of the underclassmen, which has been great because they get to talk to me about, some of the goals they have for themselves individually, and what they want for the team as a whole. And with those conversations, naturally I talk a little bit about how my process works, how practice is going to look, and what we're going to do to make sure they're hitting those goals. So far so good, but I'm really anxious to actually have them here, meet them in person, shake some hands, and all that stuff.
Now that we're finally able to, after the debacle that was COVID, where we can shake each other's hands once again, and credit to those that still do the little fist bump and whatnot. Yeah. For you personally, obviously you've gotten a chance to kind of see the program, see the facilities, see the university as a whole. What are going to be some of your expectations and what you want to see coming out of this year? You hinted at it with the men's program wanting to reach those heights that the women's program did. Obviously the women don't want to drop off, but where do you yourself see both of these teams kind of going this year?
Yeah, I see. I mean, these teams are set up for success. So that's pretty clear. Luckily, it's a relatively young team, so we weren't losing a whole lot to graduation or anything like that. So we have a ton of returners, and there's some fresh blood coming in with the freshman class. So I would definitely love to see the women's team repeat what they were able to accomplish last year. I think that is definitely within our sights. And the men's team, I really think they have what it takes to be up there in that top three again. Other than that, a lot of it's going to come down to how bad do we want it. So, spending the time in the weight room, spending the time in the pool, spending the time in classrooms and study halls, making sure everything is set up so that when it comes to February, when it's championship time, we don't have to worry about anything. It's just go fast.
Well, Coach, thank you for coming on to talk to us today. You've obviously been pretty busy with getting moved in here and getting your office all set up with your meetings and whatnot, but we appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck this season.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me out here, and go Bobcats.
All right, well, stay tuned. Later in the month, we will have some of our fall sports on for our previews. Those are our two head coaches that you've met in the past couple weeks. But as Coach said, go Bobcats.